Hello everyone. So a lot of presentations are going very technical. So with my presentation, I'm going to go on how we actually use blockchain to solve a real world problem. So it's going to be a lot on the commercial, the business. So Lightnet is a financial logistic company. We're backed by Citigroup, Ajanta, which operates 7-Eleven, and probably about 100,000 last mile settlement across ASEAN. We also are backed by Stella Development Foundation. So our goal is basically to build the next generation financial network to improve the financial mobility. So when you think about Lightnet, there are three things that we want to do. So one, we want to solve the current liquidity issue. When you think about money transfer, either they're going to do a B2C liquidity, B2B liquidity, or on the fiat to non-fiat. Currently, there are really no platform that can combine fiat, non-fiat, B2B, B2C, airtime, and commodity into basically one network that can match all liquidity together. So that's number one. Number two is the settlement. So currently, we operate in a world where in the banking world is called corresponding network. So we use SWIFT. The problem with SWIFT is everything rolled back to the US, which introduced the double split problem, and also the long time for the settlement. So we're actually going to build a network that transforms 7-Eleven, mom and pop shop, different shop and last mile settlement into the virtual bank. That allowing our network to run all these shops like a SWIFT, to be able to do basically all the transactions 24/7 and real time and cover all the population. Lastly is the interoperability. So we are not only using blockchain for the speed, for the transparency, for the automation, but also for the interoperability. What I really mean is that if you have Alipay, WeChat Pay, you go to a country like Thailand, most of the shops cannot take Alipay. If you have Grab wallet, you come here, it's pretty much useless. So our technology is an infrastructure, not a B2C, but a B2B infrastructure that when it got connect to all the application or the wallet, allow this wallet to basically transfer cross wallet and do payment anywhere in the country. So that's the idea. So as I mentioned, there are basically three main issues that we want to solve. Currently, when it comes to cross-border settlement, it's very slow, it's very costly. It will show you later how costly it is, okay? Now, number two is limited availability. So currently, especially in ASEAN, most of the banks operate only weekdays from around 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m. Most of the people, when they finish their work, they can't really use the banking branch. Also, in Southeast Asia country, Indonesia, Philippines are island-based. Most of the banking branch are operate just in the main city. So people really have no access to the banking branch. And lastly, as I mentioned, is the interoperability, where wallet from Thailand is useless in this country. Wallet from China is useless in countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. Also, currently there's a lot of friction costs between wallet to cash. For example, if I have a domestic wallet, I want to cash out, I pay a fee between 3 to 5%. So basically, we want to use the blockchain, we want to use our last mile settlement to basically achieve three things. So one is basically using blockchain to do a real-time settlement, ability to basically create the hub for Asian market, so everything can be done real-time. Number two is basically allowing us to use blockchain and our last mile settlement network to convert all the shop into basically equivalent to a banking branch. So everyone can transact 24/7 and it's located in everyone's proximity. And lastly, interoperability, ability to able to use your wallet to pay anywhere, ability for you to have your wallet and cash out anywhere. So why remittance? What's very interesting about remittance, despite the fluctuation in the market and the GDP, for the past 20 years, remittance has been growing at 10% each year. And this is just a reported number. So the total remittance market is actually more than $1 trillion US. So what's interesting here is that when you talk about digital to digital money transfer, it's been going at double digit. But even though the world is moving toward digital, cash is still very important. If you look at basically the bottom left, that represents South Asia country, where people still heavily rely on cash. Actually, what's interesting is even in a country like America, where player like Western Union and MoneyGram, when they lower their price, even though it's more expensive than PayPal, they're still able to still share from PayPal because PayPal is only one PayPal account to another PayPal account. When player like MoneyGram and Western Union allow people to convert from cash to cash, it actually has advantage for some of the immigrant workers there. What is interesting here is the underground banking network. So take the Thai immigrant worker. The official volume is around 8 billion, while actually the real number is 30 billion. So what happened here is the official volume is only 30% of the actual volume. Now talking about the banking coverage. So currently the whole ASEAN, there are probably about 50,000 banking branch. If you apply the US coverage ratio, you actually need, on top of the 50,000, 200,000. No, sorry, you actually need 200,000 banking branch, which means you need 150,000. Now, let's say 4-agent network can offer one banking branch capability. What that means is that the whole ASEAN needs 600,000 banking agents to serve the population. So with regard to the current money transfer coverage, people like Western Union, MoneyGram, and local player, currently per one shop is cover around 20,000 people in ASEAN. But in reality, if you compare to a more developed market, one money transfer should cover 1,000 people. So it represents a very big significant gap in terms of coverage. So as I mentioned, even for the banking population, it's low, costly, low visibility. For the underbanked, is limited accessibility and limited trust. Now, this is very interesting. Because all the money, when they transfer, it went from Thailand to Vietnam, they have to route back to the US and route back to Thailand and Vietnam. In some of the, this is a quote from number 2 bank in Thailand. If I want to wire from Thai to Philippines, the spread is basically 40%. So it represents a huge opportunity in terms of cost saving. So, as I mentioned, the way we solve it is combining blockchain with a business capability. So currently under CB Group, we have a liquidity in the intra-Asia market, more than 100 billion US. We also have partners that are routing around 30 billion US of liquidity from the Western country to the Asian market. We also have partners in fiat and non-fiat. We have partners in B2B. So we are routing all this liquidity to create the perfect net settlement for both B2B, B2C, fiat to non-fiat, even for airtime settlement. We also currently have leverage from CB Group 100,000 cash in cash out point to partner with the rest. Currently we have more than 500,000 cash in cash out point in a one centralized accounting and settlement system that link to our blockchain, which we on top of Stellar. So currently in ASEAN, we are the only one that able to have all 3 value chain, which is the clearing of liquidity provider, the last mile settlement, and basically the settlement network layer, which we are using Stellar. So one thing that we also try to innovate here is when you think about the way corresponding networks working. If I transfer from, let's say, a bank in Thailand to a bank in Singapore, they still need a major corresponding bank like JP Morgan, like Mellon Bank. So what we are doing here, we're using blockchain to create basically a decentralized anchor credit issuer. So that centralized anchor credit issuer are acting like a decentralized JP Morgan. And what they do is they would do a nostril with a trusted partner to issue a B2B credit locally for them. And that B2B credit can transact regionally for the start, anywhere they want, in any form of money. So once we have basically the corresponding network that we create, the decentralized JP Morgan. What we've done next is how we integrate to the fragmented liquidity provider, also integrate to the banking rail. So we actually have on the Stellar messaging layer or the access wallet exchange, we actually integrate to money transfer, bank, liquidity provider, last mile settlement like cash in cash out to create a seamless settlement end-to-end. We also have end of the day process of rebalancing to create basically the perfect net settlement. So with the Lightnet platform, we're able to achieve simplicity, speed, cost, safety, and reliability. So in short, basically on top of blockchain, our platform are capable of getting the FX rate origination, not only from the bank, from a big liquidity provider, from a small liquidity provider, even from the fiat to non-fiat player. And then what we've done is that we have a one centralized accounting and settlement system that basically communicating using blockchain to sending money transfer, receiving money transfer, last mile settlement, liquidity provider, to make sure that everything can be direct debit, direct credit in real time to do the settlement messaging layer. And then lastly, we have the real world settlement, which after the settlement, we can either do a bank-to-bank transfer, we can do a transfer among the liquidity provider, kind of like a peer-to-peer. So right now, in our roadmap, we already finished the product. So right now, we are in the process of UAT with the key partner in Asian countries. We also are in process of applying for the wholesale banking license in Singapore to position ourselves to be Asian hub for the settlement banking. We also, in Q2, we're going to start working with big payment aggregators. For example, we have a special project now that we work with one of the largest China payment aggregator in China. And then we are working with another payment aggregator in Southeast Asia. And what's interesting here is that payment aggregator in Southeast Asia, they are basically allowing merchants in Southeast Asian countries to pay Alipay and Shangpay. And basically the other payment aggregator in China are allowing people with Southeast Asian wallet like Grab to pay in China. So actually what happened here is a situation where we can do a perfect net settlement for both. And basically no physical money will be removed and we can net settle for both and using blockchain to settle real time. So basically with Lightnet technology, what we intend to achieve is basically based on a huge liquidity, net settlement, and all our last mile settlement. We want to enable all our partners to allow for the transfer at any touch point, whether it's an application, cash in, cash out, bank account, non-fiat, to go through different accounts. Currently we live in a world where people have bank account, digital wallet, crypto wallet, and just cash, to move from one another across platform, and on the back end integrate with banking rail, non-banking rail, wallet rail, blockchain rail, and other B2B rail to achieve the perfect net settlement. And we are the engine behind. So our strategy is not to acquire user, but rather kind of like a back office that integrate with everyone to allow them to improve their financial mobility capability. So that's pretty much on the conceptual side. Now, for the technical part, if you have any technical question, we actually co-host an event with WXY around 7 p.m. We have technical team with us. If you want to ask more about the blockchain implementation or more technical stuff, you can also ask our technical team at that event. So pretty much, thank you very much.